My dad lived a double live for 17 years and I hate him for it. I put off writing this post for a long time. Because at some point, we all agreed that we were supposed to be stronger than this. That we should just move on like nothing happened. That was the plan, at least. But the truth is, I can't keep pretending anymore. It's been weighing on me more than I expected, and no matter how hard I try to brush it off, it keeps coming back. And I'm exhausted from holding it in. So I'm choosing to let myself be a little vulnerable here, even if it feels uncomfortable. 17 years ago, my dad had an affair. I was just a baby at the time, so I don't remember any of it myself, but from what my mom and sisters have told me, he swore it was a one-time mistake. That's what he kept saying, over and over. But then the woman got pregnant, and suddenly it wasn't just a mistake anymore. He started insisting that he had a responsibility toward that child, that he couldn't just walk away. And my mom, she let him. You might be wondering, why didn't she just leave him? I've asked myself that question too. The answer is complicated, but it mostly comes down to the culture we live in. Being a divorced woman carried a heavy stigma. It wasn't only about her own life falling apart. It would have affected all of us. It could shape how people saw us, how they treated us, what opportunities we'd have in the future. So instead of walking away, she stayed. Because there was no other choice for her. Leaving wasn't really an option for him either. Not because he cared about us, but because of how it would look. No one would have supported him. To everyone else, my mom was exactly what a good wife and a good mother should be. So if he had openly left her and 4 daughters, he wouldn't have been seen as misunderstood or justified. He would have been the villain in everyone's eyes. And that's something he couldn't tolerate. Because he cares deeply about how he's perceived by others. But seems we were never part of that audience. We didn't count as the people whose opinions mattered. What we felt, what we saw, what we went through behind closed doors, none of that seemed to carry the same weight as the approval of outsiders. So he stayed. And he always swore he only stayed in contact with that woman because of their daughter. That's what we were told for years. But based on everything we found out over the past year, it turns out he was spending a lot more time with them than with us. He's a farmer, and his farm was about an hour away from our house. That became the perfect excuse. He would disappear for days at a time, saying it was work. And where was he actually staying overnight? Well, it's pretty obvious now. At his mistress's place, who, as it turns out, lived nearby. She was also his employee, which is how they met in the first place. At some point, I stopped feeling happy when he came. I started feeling irritated. Because no matter what, he would always find something to criticize or complain about. So even when he was physically there, it didn't feel warm or comforting. It felt like everyone had to be careful. But even then, there were days when he acted like a good father. Moments where he was kind, present, almost normal. And that made everything more confusing. It created this constant dissonance inside me. I never knew how to feel about him, whether to wait for those rare good moments or brace myself for disappointment. And honestly, I could almost forgive the fact that he was a terrible father to the 4 of us. What I can't get past is the financial hole he dragged all of us into. For context, things on his farm have been going badly for years. He's been drowning in debt for as long as I can remember. About 10 years ago, he pressured my mom into selling our house by using threats about taking his own life. After that, he kept pushing her further, guilt-tripping her, promising that things would get better soon, until she ended up selling all of her jewelry too. You wouldn't believe how low he would go to get money out of her. He would sit at home for days, acting like some kind of tragic martyr, dropping constant hints, making everything feel heavy and unbearable until she gave in. That's how we ended up in a rented house where barely anything worked. Hot water? We had to boil it in pots. Heating? In winter, we all slept in one room with a couple of heaters, just trying not to freeze. And then, a couple of years later, things somehow got even worse. Because of problems with the pipes, even cold water stopped running inside the house. At one point, I was washing dishes outside, even in winter. All that time, he kept making empty promises. Saying he'd fix everything soon, that things would improve, that we just needed to wait a little longer. But instead of actually improving our living conditions, he decided to do something else. He bought a house for them. On a mortgage, but still WTF. Even though they were already living perfectly fine in her parents' house. But I guess that wasn't enough. I guess he wanted more freedom to spend time with her, without restrictions. And ever since I found out about that, I haven't been able to shake this overwhelming sense of injustice. Realizing all of this hit me harder than I expected. Because it made me start asking questions I didn't want to ask. We were here first. There were more of us. So why did he keep choosing them? It left me with this awful feeling of being replaced. Especially since the age gap between me and his other child, I can't even bring myself to call her my sister, isn't even that big. And growing up, I already carried this quiet belief that somehow it was my fault. Like I was the last straw. Because he wanted a son, and instead, I was born a girl. I thought maybe that's what pushed him away, what made him look elsewhere. But now I know that wasn't true. He was already like this long before I was even born. By the way, he was busy with work when I was born. And yet, all of this still shaped me. I've struggled to form close friendships, always holding a part of myself back. There was this constant fear in the back of my mind. What if they find out? What if they see me differently once they know where I come from, what my family is like? I'm scared of relationships. Because what if I end up with someone like him? What if I don't notice the signs? What if one day I wake up and realize I've been living the exact same life my mom did? That thought terrifies me more than anything. And sometimes I catch myself thinking things I'm not proud of. Like maybe life somehow punished him, because their second child, the son he wanted so badly, was stillborn. I know that's a terrible thing to think. I know it's not right. But I'm tired of pretending I'm above those thoughts. I hate this man. I hate what he did to us, and I hate the person I feel like I became because of him. I hate how much of my childhood was shaped by his choices, how so many of my memories are tied to stress, confusion, and resentment instead of something warm or safe. I hate that even now, after everything, his actions still affect the way I think, the way I trust people, the way I see myself. I hate that he took away my sense of home, and now, even when we finally have a stable place to live, I still feel like I don't belong there. And he acts like nothing ever happened. Like everything he did was normal. If he could miss my birth, miss so many important moments, and make even the moments he was there feel worse, then why should he be part of anything important in my future? This year, after my uncle's funeral, I completely cut contact with him. My mom is also preparing for a divorce. And our lives have actually gotten noticeably better since we kicked him out about a year ago. P.S. Sorry if this reads a bit awkwardly. English isn't my first or even my second language, so I used a translator for some parts.